turn this off.
Mm.
Okay. No, I'm definitely clean and just training natural, and but I, because I still eat good every day, and I exercise.
I assume you're clean. You're so talented. I'm sure you can do it clean.
Yeah.
By the way, I having a different backdrop here. I wanted to kind of do it in front of my new kitchen, but I'm sitting on a very uncomfortable chair.
Oh man, look at that!
Look at that, you guys. Huh?
Is the construction done?
Well, now the kitchen is so modern, nothing fits anymore. So
Yeah.
now we're gonna go with the floors, the furniture, the blinds. It's gonna,
Nice. Very
That's nice.
Yeah. Very, very cool.
Huh.
Hey, Don, I think we had guest postings together, or not?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think we had one. I know we had one in New York. I think it was me, you, and Paul Gillette one time, and probably a couple here and there. Yeah.
Yeah, I should know more about you. It's kind of you turned pro when?
In 1995.
So a year after me. I mean, I turned in 1994.
Yeah. So yeah, I came kind of right after you because I remember seeing you and I believe it was you and Gunther around the same time.
Gunther was a year before me.
Okay.
But I did not compete in 95, so I started in 96.
Yeah, so that's how I kind of remember seeing you at the Arnold's somewhere around 96 or something like that too, give or take. Yeah. I mean, I wasn't in it that year, but I was there watching. That's when I first saw you, I think. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Very good.
We also went out to California. I mean, separately, but we were out there at this one audition. If you remember, it was I think it was after the Canadian show. We went out there and they had an audition for like a kind of like a one of those gladiator type shows. You remember that?
I do not.
You don't remember that? Yeah, it was right after the show, and we went out there and they had a big audition out there on Venice Beach area, in that area somewhere, and he has to do all these different kind of things and whatever. Yeah, we talked for and then again, maybe I just saw you out there and you wasn't actually at that event.
Oh, I was definitely not at that event. I know I could hardly move, so there wouldn't be anything I can do.
Yeah, this was probably around 98, 99. Yeah.
Yeah, great. So you won the overall at the USA or the Nationals?
At the Nationals, yeah.
Yeah, I was always so jealous of the USA winners. I mean, I won the Miss Universe, but I always felt like, the USA, that would be something else. You got so much more press.
I think. Yeah, the Nationals, though, for me back then, and keep in mind, the USA's, of course, was mainly a West Coast show, and the Nationals was always the East Coast show. But the thing is about the USA's is it wasn't a deep lineup. It was a great lineup. Like the top 5 would always be great. But if you go beyond that, it really wasn't that deep because no one really wanted to take that risk on one pro card. It was only one pro card back then, whereas the Nationals, if you won your class, then you got the pro guard. So you had Flex Wheeler, Chris Cormier, Mike Matarazzo. You had a deep 5, but you would take the the rest of the lineup beyond the 5 wouldn't be that great. You had a lot of people that win the USA's that was very, like Dexter Jackson won the USA's one year, and of course then he came to the Nationals and placed out of the top 15, and it could have just been mishaps, but. Several people, Vinny Galante won the USA's, and then so my point is once you come to the Nationals, it's a lot deeper, a lot harder, so it was a much more harder show to win.
So who was with you in the finale there?
Well, in the top 5 was me in my show. Top 5 was me, Tom Prince, Edgar Fletcher, Tony Freeman, and then I forgot the other guy.
Wow, that's pretty impressive.
Yeah. And then so it had
a good lineup.
Deep lineup, yeah.
What year was that, Don?
That was 95. All my nationals was pretty hard. The year before that was me. It was Paul DeMayo, Craig Titus, me, Tony Freeman, Stan McCrary. So and then of course. Mike Francois, Dennis Newman. So I competed against a lot of legends, I would say,
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. I want to quickly before we continue this, I want to quickly ask Ian how it's going down there with, the hurricane and all the damage he experienced.
We personally got hit quite hard, really hard actually. It ripped my whole pole barn roof off and ruined a lot of my PCA stage props and trophies and damage. Took out a lot of money's worth of tools and got probably about 40 or 50 trees down. 2 of them came down on my house.
Wow.
So yeah, we got hit quite hard. We were out without power for 5 days, 5.5 days, which means we had no water because we're on well water. But we didn't get hit as hard as some people like on Sanibel. They got wiped out down there. So it was quite a test because we had a show on Saturday. So leading up to that show, it was we were scrambling, trying to get things ready, you know. And it affected the show numbers too. A lot of athletes pulled out because they didn't have any power, so they couldn't cook. And it kind of messed up a lot of things for us. But nobody was hurt, so you know, thank God. Yeah, everything's good. God bless it. You know, I'm blessed. Been no injuries, and we can replace things. And we can.
I'm very happy to hear that. But did you lost your barn roof? That bothered me a little bit because I thought, what is this guy living on a 10-acre property with a barn? I don't have a barn.
Well, I have 7 acres, so I have a decent amount. We have 3 horses. They were fine.
Obviously, a lot of trees too.
We're out in the country, you know. I've got a lot of pine trees, a lot of oaks.
Congratulations.
Big oaks on my house. So.
Yeah. Ian's just a regular redneck.
I am basically, I'm a complete redneck, yeah. An English redneck.
I've never seen a British redneck before.
You have now. No, I like it out in country, but yeah, we got hit hard. I mean, the hurricane came in at Sanibel. It went right underneath us, and then it turned north and went right beside us. So we were in the highest winds. We had 115-mile-an-hour winds.
So when it hit your house, so what you guys do?
Well, I had metal shutters up on all my windows. It ripped some of those up, but basically I had my daughter, my grandkids, my 4 grandkids, my daughter and her husband, a good friend of mine with his daughter, Mac and Maddie, me and Jane, and we all just
hunkered down.
We had no power, so we couldn't see what was going on. We just had candles, and you just hope and pray that you don't get a missile coming through you.
Wow.
Really,
you only got a couple choices. You can either you go out of state and stay somewhere, or you got to sit there and wait it out. That's about all you can do.
Hey Don, did that affect you? You're in North Carolina now, right?
Yeah, we just got some brief rain, and a little bit of wind, but nothing major.
I think South Carolina got hit a little bit hard, didn't they?
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah.
I think they said Charleston or something got hit.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Thanks for asking though, JP. I appreciate it, man.
Absolutely.
Don, how long you been up in North Carolina? I know you were down here in Florida for a little while.
Yeah, I've been up here since 2018.
Okay.
Yeah.
I
actually met you a few years. I met you a few years ago. I know you don't remember it. Europa. I think you had some clients.
Okay.
You had a couple clients in the show. We were all sitting up front. So,
okay.
So
yeah. Or around 16 or something like that. 16.
Yeah,
17.
16, 17. Back when it was actually pretty good before. It started going to nothing.
Yeah.
So
what happened with that show? Why did it get so unpopular? It was a real popular show at one point.
Yeah, I don't know. I know right before COVID they had one, and John, he goes to them too. The numbers got real low for some reason.
Why?
Yeah, it was really
a lot of the vendors just didn't show up. I don't know.
It used to be a 2-day show, and this year was only 1.
Did they have it this year, John?
Huh?
Did they actually have the Europa?
Yeah, they had it. Yeah.
I didn't even hear about it. Normally, you would hear about it on social media. I didn't even know they'd done it.
I showed up on Saturday right before they had an IFBB Pro show. I showed up that night. Man, it was dead. I walked in, I couldn't believe, like, the expo was just abandoned almost. It was like there's hardly any booths, and there was just no crowd.
It was basically Fuad's booth, right?
Yeah,
that was it.
Why do you think that is? What do you think it changed that?
Well, I don't know. I think COVID might have screwed it up, and then when it tried to come back, it just never came back. I don't know why. It used to be such a big event out here in Florida. I remember, like when I first moved here 10, 12 years ago, it was like such a big event that weekend. Like everybody from the gym would go. It was a 2-day show or 2-day event. Everybody would go. But the expo was so big.
Yeah, I mean, it was almost comparable to the Olympia Expo.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it was big.
Strange, man, how something can go downhill so quick.
Hmm.
You think there are too many shows?
Oh, I definitely think there's too many in Florida.
Yeah.
Well,
There was a lot back then though, too.
Hmm.
I think this year they've increased the number of shows in Florida, though, for sure. I mean, I've noticed and been told that a lot of the NPC shows were struggling for numbers, and we've seen it in our Florida. I mean, we've probably been busier with our out-of-state shows than we have in Florida. The Florida shows have just been less numbers than usual. Trying to ignore the hurricane, because that obviously put a lot of people out, but definitely changed. Definitely changed. I don't know what's changed it, but something's definitely changed in Florida market for sure. John, what Arnold's did you do? Because I'm pretty sure that we competed against each other in one of the Arnold Classics, but I'm not sure what year.
Yeah, I did 97, 8, and 9.
98, and it'd be 98 was my last year competing, so that's probably the year that I competed against you.
Yeah, and I think you might have been in a few shows with me, maybe out west, like the San Jose or something like that.
Oh yes, the
Yeah.
San Jose Pro. Ronnie was in that, right?
Yeah.
Ronnie, Gunter, me. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
97.
Yeah,
Yeah.
97. Yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, we definitely competed against each other. Yeah, I knew we'd cross paths, but it's crazy, isn't it? When you're competing, you don't really speak to anybody, do you?
Not much, especially so focused at that point,
You just like this, you're like tunnel vision. You go to the show, everybody's cordial. There's no bad blood, but you just don't get into a conversation with anyone. You're all there doing the same thing, and you compete, and then you go.
Yeah.
Hey Don, what was your pro debut?
Night of the Champions. Yeah.
You were top 3 there, or what?
Top 3, yeah. Flex was first, Ronnie, and then Flex, Ronnie, me, Milos, and then Mike Matarazzo.
Wow, what a lineup.
So that qualified you for the Olympia right away. That was 97 or what?
Yeah, that was 96. I could have went. I passed it up because that was my first year, and I just competed in, whatever it was, October, and then this was May. And so I thought I needed some time, I knew I needed some time just to bring something different. But then, of course, after that, I don't think my body ever really performed the same. And it probably was when, I was probably getting sick without even knowing it at that point. And then, of course, by 99, I actually did get sick, so. So
Tell us
after
a little bit about that.
Yeah, Don, can you tell us what
that?
happened?
Yeah, like I said, I was, in hindsight, I was born with one kidney, which I didn't know at the time. And then it was just 96 was a great year. And I still had always had great off seasons, making lots of improvements, getting bigger, getting better. But at contest time, it would never really show. One of the things after the 96, or around 97, I think they started diuretic testing. So that kind of threw that year off, and then of course, going into 98, just once again, my body wasn't performing the way it should have. It wasn't drying out like it needed to. So I would look great in the off season, great in photo shoots, but never could pull what you. And granted, if someone saw me, they probably thought I looked great. But you have to be exceptional to be in the place you want to be. Trying to place high in the bigger shows. So it just wouldn't land right. And from that point, it just every show was I look decent, but not good enough. So and then finally in 99, I actually got sick. And then I was probably leading into prepping for the Arnolds of 2000. And then, but by October 99, I got sick, and then I couldn't actually do it, so.
What exactly happened? How did you get sick, Don?
Well, it started off, it just felt like a bad cold, flu, just not feeling great. And that went on for like 2 weeks. So I thought, but I never really caught colds. I'll be honestly, never really got sick. And so it was very odd. So at one point, after it just lingered, I went to the doctor, and that's when they, of course, did labs. And they said, plus at that point, I was already probably swelling up and stuff like that. They said, you need to go to the emergency room. And then, so once I did that, they did the labs and things like that. And then, and that's when they said, you need to go on dialysis tomorrow. And of course, at that point, I didn't even know what dialysis was, so I said, and of course, I'm prepping, I'm about to start prepping for a show. And so I was basically definitely in denial at that point. No way I'm going on dialysis. But after 3 days of being in the hospital, they called my sister and she said, you really need to go. They talked to me. They told me everything. And then so she kind of convinced me to go ahead and start it, you know, and probably luckily I did, or I probably, who knows what happened, you know. And then it took me about 6 months to kind of just kind of accept it, come to realize this is what it is. You're not going to get better. You can't beat it, because the body was, you know, because we do things, a lot of things correct, I would say. We feel like Superman, you know. So I feel like this, and especially at 33, I was only 33 at the time. I feel like I can beat this, whatever it is, you know. And so I think I stayed in denial for about 6 months, and finally I decided, okay, this is it, you know. Try think about your next move, you know, and that's kind of what I did, you know.
Yeah. Wow.
You know, I think, Jason, when you said that the company that Don was in some of those shows, I think people, JP, myself, and Don know, because we did it. But the depth of the athletes in those years,
Yeah,
you know, the 80s, early 90s,
right.
was different. It was just different level. I mean, you know, you've got shows now where you've got, I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 good guys.
Yeah.
Back then, you had 15 guys in a show that were all in a shout of winning that show.
Yeah,
exactly.
That was incredible, you know. I mean, just looking at that video of you there, Don, what an incredible physique.
Yeah.
Back the day, me, you, and JP have all been, oh yeah, but it's a bit like there, and I can do this, and because it was so close between us all, you know.
That was an amateur in those video right there. I was still an amateur.
Exactly.
Yeah,
that's
You
crazy.
don't see amateurs like that nowadays.
No,
You know?
Can you imagine with that shape, you win a pro card on in any pro qualifier?
Exactly.
Without a problem.
Oh, he would have dominated. I mean, when you look at Don's placings, you know, he was pretty much top 10, but it's like his lineup to get 7th and 8th place on some of those was like today would be like, you know, just blow everybody away.
Yeah.
You know, it's crazy.
Yeah, like Ian said, I mean, you look at some of those old Olympia lineups, and you go back like 10th place, 12th place, 14th place. You know, you had guys like Charles Claremont not making top 10. It was like unbelievable.
yeah.
95, the one Olympia I did in 1995, I think Flex Wheeler got 8th. Ronnie Coleman and Charles Claremont got joint 10th.
Yeah.
I was 14th, I think. I beat Pavel Jablanicki. Pavel Jablanicki was an incredible bodybuilder.
Yeah, he was incredible.
Absolutely incredible. I remember standing next to him, looking at him and thinking, holy shit. And I think he placed last.
Yeah.
Hey, I remember in 96, so I went back after the Olympia, and this bodybuilding fan kid asked me in the locker room, so you didn't do very well. I said, well, you know, I only placed 8th. So once he found out that Francois placed like 11th or 12th, he couldn't freaking believe it. You know, he couldn't believe it. So it was very, very close, and you know, often you know who knew how to dial in and do that consistently did better than others.
Sometimes it was a matter of the day. You know, who landed that day. You could, like I said, it could easily flip. You know, for sure.
Yeah. Absolutely, yeah. I don't think a lot of people nowadays really understand just how deep the talent was, and it's because look, you turned pro. And look at the lineups you were competing in as amateurs to get your pro card. You know, you just don't see that nowadays. You just don't, because they're giving away them pro cards so early. There's no really outstanding amateurs. They've already got the pro card 10 years. I mean, Matt Mendenhall never got his pro card. Rory Idlemeyer never got his pro card. Edgar Fletcher never got his pro card. Incredible athletes, you know.
Hey, I was just looking through the competitive field of the qualified athletes of this year. And I think it's 39 by now, and that doesn't even include the people who will move in by points. And I was thinking, you know, I mean, back in the days, it was a total different qualification system. So the top 10 qualified automatically. But outside that, it was very, very hard to qualify, because then you had the Night of Champions with a few shows around it, and then the Arnolds, and most people were already qualified, you know, so there may be another 4 or 5 people slipped in for next year up to 15.
Yeah.
But now today, I don't even know how they should solve that, because there's so many more shows, and I understand that you can give any winner of a pro show a qualification. So I was thinking about that. What about, you know, when you go, when you like in a 100-meter sprint or in any like track and field discipline in the Olympics. You know, you go there and then you have to go through all those different rounds, you know, the quarterfinals, semifinals. I mean, at some point, they're going to have to do something like that, because if I go watch now bikini on Saturday, I have to go through 50 athletes just for them to go to the walkthrough round is an hour, and people are going to get bored. So what do you think? How can they keep those either fields shorter or
could go back? They could go back to how they used to judge us at the Nationals, whereas you did the quarter turns, and right away, if you didn't make the cut, they only cut to 15 at that point. So sometimes you would come to the Nationals and you did 3/4 turns, and you either made it or you didn't.
Yeah.
And then, you didn't even get to do the poses at all, you know.
Yeah. They're going to have to go to something like that. So those shows are going to be endlessly long. Huh?
And that's when, you know, once again, you earned it. I mean, because, you know, they were giving nothing away. You know, they didn't care about your feelings. They didn't care about your family. If you didn't make the 15, you came that whole trip for nothing, you know. So that means you work hard and you bust your butt and you try to get in that top 15. Otherwise, it's a waste of trip, you know. So
I know. My family came to Paris to see me in '89 at the World Championships. I was on stage for 3 minutes.
Yeah. So that's how it goes. I think they probably need to go back to that. The Nationals definitely need to change. It's just, you know, 2 pro cards to me is still too much right now. Guys don't spend enough time in the amateurs to become good. You know, you put in that work and put in those years to develop the muscles. You know, because if you come out too soon, if I had won on my first year, even though I looked great, I would not have been nowhere close to being ready. I just didn't have enough muscle quality, you know. And so the 2 years after that, for putting that work in, I was able to develop a much better physique, you know. So sometimes losing wasn't a bad thing necessarily. You just had to earn your way in. And some people come and they may be slightly already ready after one show, you know, Mike Matarazzo or what have you. You know, it happens, but it's kind of rare. It was rare back then for people to win it on their first try, you know. Flex Wheeler, it took Flex Wheeler 3 or 4 times himself, you know. So.
Yeah. I remember when Flex finally got it at the 92 USA, it was like he looked like a pro. I mean, everybody could wait for him to turn pro because they were like, this guy already looks like a pro, because it took him, like you said, it took him several times, and there were some close losses, you know, to Lavroni and then to Matarazzo, and you know, he had like 2 or 3 times where he lost real close.
Then of course, once he, you know, in '93, he dominated the entire year. You know?
He just killed everybody, right?
So, you know, there are those 2 Russians now, which, you know, one of them is pro already. I don't know if you guys saw it. I think he qualified last weekend in Italy, the amateur Olympia, Michael Krizo.
Yeah.
And did you guys see
that
other Russian guy who trains down in Brazil? I don't even know exactly what his name is. Do you guys see that guy? Gudvito, he goes for, you know.
Oh, yeah.
Vitaly Ugnoklikov.
Did he get his pro card? He got his pro card?
He's up in 2 weeks for a pro card.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, that's insane. So I don't know if they come from other federations or, you know, they're really, really, really good for people who don't have a pro card yet. So that's kind of refreshing for once. Yeah.
So how many guys are going in the Olympia? How many pros are qualified?
I think it's 39 right now are qualified. I think what's his name?
In one class, is that 212 and open?
No, that's just the open.
That's just the open.
So how do they get?
I already know Regan is not going, so that's 38. But then I don't know with points. There are going to be 3 more going in with points. So then we will be over 40.
If you got to win a show to get qualified, how do they get so many people?
Yeah, I don't know how many. Do you know how many shows there are? Like last weekend, we had 2 alone.
Yeah.
There's still a few shows left, right?
Yeah,
that's correct.
It's been about 5 or 6 in the past month, 3 or 4 weeks. It's been at least 6 shows, you know.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, like you said, JP, I mean, back in the day, it was the top 5 at the Arnold and top 5 at the Night of the Champions that qualify.
Yeah.
And then some of the other shows, like the Ironman, it was the top 3.
Yeah.
But now,
but you know, every time I went to a small show, you know, I mean, my first small show was San Jose. I mean, when you have first Lebroni, second Vince Taylor, third Goldie Led, they're all along qualified.
Yeah.
Right.
So I think then they took the 4th one, if everyone was qualified already, and that was Gunther Churlock in his absolute best form ever. So yeah, it was just absolutely brutal. They have to go back to something like that, or do like Don said, get those people off stage quickly to let the top 15 battle.
Yeah.
Well, what I've noticed, like going through the year, watching all these shows, it's almost like they don't even really focus on each individual show. It's just like who won and who's qualified for the Olympia. And it's like the Olympia is the only one that counts. Where back in the day, when I remember like back in the 90s, the Arnold was a big deal. The Night of the Champions was a big deal. And the guys who were made the top 5 in that, or the guy who won that was really celebrated at that time.
Yeah.
Where now it seems like we kind of just pass by it real fast. And it's just like all focused on the Olympia. It's all focused on just one day of the year, which is the Olympia. And all the other shows almost don't count,
And part of it too is that in the other, keep in mind, all the big dogs still used to do some of the other, they used to do the Arnolds. They used to do the United, and so it made it more interesting. Now you got basically, it's kind of like what the Night of Champions was kind of set out to be, it was supposed to be all newcomers. And it turned into where even some of the top pros, would do the Night of Champions also. But but now most of the guys, aren't top 10 Olympians, so to speak. They just trying to get their way in there. So.
The Night of the Champions used to be like a proving ground for any new pro. That was my pro debut. I didn't even end up getting on stage because I got sick, but that was the show that if you were a new pro, that's where you made your name. And if you won that or did well in the Night of the Champions, then you were up there for being a favorite or a hot prospect for the Olympia. That's just how it used to be.
Yeah, Dorian did that, right? That was his.
Well, Dorian got beat by more Benazita the first year. And then when he came back again, he won it, and then he was the hot ticket going into the Olympia that year.
Evan lost to Porter Cottrell at that show, I believe, right?
Yeah. Actually, the year Porter won it is the year that was my pro debut when I never got on stage.
Oh, okay.
I got some bad advice and I ended up using diuretics and nearly died, so I'd never used them again. So that's
my show. You had the national winner, which was me. You had the USA winner, which was Phil Hernan. And then you had the North American winner, which was Stan McCray. We were all in my first Night of Champions. That's kind of how you.
Didn't Phil Hernan pass away recently?
Yeah, he passed away. Yeah,
that's crazy, man. That's crazy.
I was just going to the qualified list here. I was wrong. It's 28, not 38. But I mean, it's still a lot. If I'm going to the list here, I don't even know some of those people. Victor Boff from Brazil, never even heard of. But it will definitely be interesting.
Might have won some show that was in Brazil, I think.
Yeah, I'm sure. Hey, did you the young guy we had here on the podcast, Charles Griffin? You guys think he could be some kind of dark horse? Because I'm really impressed from what I see. He could be like some kind of slip into the top 10 here pretty easily. The way it looks like, it's pretty impressive.
Yeah, I think
somebody picked him. I can't remember who it was. Somebody picked him for a top 5.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, I'm really impressed what I see. The improvements are just incredible. I still think, it's a little early to say, but Samson Dauda for top 3.
Top 3.
Wow. He brings. Yeah. If he knows his condition, I think he's definitely picked up a lot of good muscle, and of course he has a good shape. So
he does.
The key thing these guys got to realize is, I'll be honest, condition still wins shows. When you see someone and they're shredded, and you have a shape and all that, that's what's going to count. So sometimes you have to make a sacrifice and bring that conditioning, because that's always going to stand out. And even with Nick, you saw when you start to see six packs help win shows. And Nick came out, he might not have the best shape, but he had the best 6-pack on stage, and people thought. And I think you're starting to see a lot of guys.
But I think Dauda is usually in pretty good shape.
Was that?
Samson is usually in pretty good shape from what I saw in recent shows.
But I don't know if so far, and I like him. I don't think so far he's reached that highly conditioned Nick. Does that, then he'll be way up there.
Well, it might be difficult because he is a lot bigger now, so it might be difficult.
Yeah, he put on a lot of size this year.
How do you guys? He looks great right now. If he can just chisel it on down, he's going to do really good.
How do you guys
That's-
think Rizzo's gonna do if he makes it, if he qualifies?
Who?
Rizzo, the new guy.
He should not compete. He
Yeah.
should not compete. I mean,
not.
he's just not ready. Yeah.
Oh.
Did you see the pictures of the amateur Olympia?
Yeah, he
Yeah.
had no competition either. It was like
I mean, the legs
Yeah,
are
none.
just not there. The back is not there. The glutes are not
back
there.
is not there. Yeah,
I mean,
His back.
he'd be great, but in a year or
Plus,
two.
I
But
think, you know, either the pictures on Instagram or whatever are filtered, or he's not bringing that even the chest wasn't as ripped as you see in some of the pictures. And some of that can be is a lot of guys today have a lot of anxiety, you know, and so they get to the show and they really lose it, you know.
Mhm,
Yeah.
mhm.
Good, and they lose a lot because they I don't know. Yeah, this happens a lot in this sport today. We all, because keep in mind the mind is kind of warped a little bit with so much social media and so much, you know,
yeah.
You know, the
Yeah.
app that we have. Whereas back in the day, we barely had a cell phone, you know.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It seems like he doesn't
Yeah.
have a lot of stage experience, so
Mhm.
that's what I notice whenever I see him.
yeah,
He looks really amateurish in his posing.
yeah, exactly.
yeah, I mean, I know he wants to go to the Prague show, huh?
Yeah, that's where he's got to win that to get the Olympia qualification.
Yeah, I don't know who's competing there. You know, I'm sure he has a good chance of winning that. But I would advise him to maybe go to next year's Arnold's or New York. You know, probably be a wiser choice. Nathan is Nathan going to the show?
The Asher?
Yeah, or can he not travel to the United States?
Oh no, I haven't heard much about him.
I haven't heard either. Mhm.
No.
Because I think he cannot travel to the United States. So then you have Nathan coming off this field of 28, and then Sean Clarida on it. He of course will not compete in the Open. And what do you guys think about Derek?
Wow.
Lunsford, yeah.
He's
Yeah.
gonna be top 5.
He's put a lot of size
Five
on.
or six. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Let me,
You know, he's
Let me give you
very,
my take
very
on it.
complete and he's got a great shape.
He got the special invite, right?
If he can land, with that same condition that he did at the 212, and
Yeah.
if he's 10, 15 pounds heavier, that's what he has to do. Also, that condition is important, though. He has to have that condition, you know,
but
especially on his first time up there, you know.
Yeah.
even last year, where the condition was way, way better than usual, he's still soft in the chest, shoulder, arms.
I agree.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
that's probably because he had to come down and weight, right?
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
He probably flattened out a little bit, you know. His
But
back
it's
is
funny when Hardy pushed the weight down like that, he just gotten harder and harder and harder. It's
Yeah.
a little different. Yeah?
Mhm.
yeah.
Where I just don't know if this is really his genetics, or if it's really, we find out, you know, that it's just a matter of, as an amateur, he was never hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
he's still young. You know, go 3 years back, he was very young, you know.
Mhm.
So that could be part of it too, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think you guys all agree that Rami will win.
Most
Looks like
likely.
it now.
Yes.
Yeah. I don't know if anybody can take his title this year.
I don't think
Yeah.
so.
I mean, he won in 80% shape last year, and he seems to be better this
Yeah,
year. So
he's way better. Yeah.
I think to me, I would say everything still matters at the day of the show. You got to, if he's shredded, yeah, you can't beat him. But if he's off and then he's not that much better condition than other people, then anything's possible at that point, you know.
it would definitely make it more, more difficult for him. But last year, Rami wasn't great, and Hunter wasn't great. They both weren't great, and they both were made top 5. So we'll see. It'd be definitely interesting.
Well, if you could pick one person that could beat him, who would you pick?
Different scenarios. Like if you take Hunter, if Hunter comes in like Flex Wheeler 93, then he can beat him. You know,
there's so much if here. I don't even know where to start.
Yeah, I know, JP, you're not a big Hunter fan, are you?
Well, I mean, he can pull me over to his side, but I mean, when you're just sweating buckets up there, and then plays 4th anyway, and nobody is willing to criticize him other than me, I don't quite get it.
Yeah.
You know?
I say the same thing. Samson, same thing. This is all the ifs. Once again, if it's all about condition, and whoever comes in that shred, is willing to come in that kind of condition to be better than everybody, then a few people have the body to do it. You know, Nick Walker still can do it. I don't know. You know.
If I would have to put my money on the top 5. You know, I mean, if I would have to put my money on the line, I'd probably go with the same guys as last year. As much as I hope for Dauda and Bonek might slip back into the top 5, but I would probably go with the same 5 guys. You know, so
Who do you think in that the top 5 or 6 from last year? Who do you think might leave that top 5 or 6? Who do you think is going to fall out of there?
you know, I mean, like I say, I hope that Dauda will crush in there, but under normal circumstances, nobody, because Hunter wasn't great. He's going to definitely be better this year, and he was top 5 last year. Nick seems to be a little bit more or less blocky, little bit at least.
Yeah.
So he's not going to fall out of the top 5. You know, I'd be very, very surprised. Then Brandon, I mean, look, he's going to be top 5. I mean, he's Mr. Olympia. And I cannot see the 2 Arabs, I mean, not Rami and not Hardy, falling out of the top 5. So I don't know. I don't think anybody probably will fall out. Then Ding is way better this time. William, I think his legs are back and he's having different coaching. So he will probably push for the top 5. And then Charles, hopefully,
Well, that's why this year is going to be one of the most interesting because there's a lot of variables. There's a lot. It's 4 or 5 people that can get into the top 5.
Right.
You know,
and we not even talked about Ian and Derek yet here. You know.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So it's 4 or 5 that can actually go into that top 5, and the question is who's coming out. You know, but it's literally 4 or 5 that if all lands right, they can be in the top 5 also.
Right. But then they're going to have to push out some of those other guys who are the top 5.
So. Who just won? Hollingshed. What about him?
No.
You think he'll be a top 10?
No.
Bottom of the top 10.
Yeah.
He will have to be still way better than he was last week to even be in the top 10. He is better, he is bigger, but I don't see it. What's going to happen if Ian Boyer? You know, that's assuming he is the same kind of shape like he was in Vancouver. Will he be able to hold on to that 7th place or not? What do you guys think?
I don't think there's no guarantees on that at all. I mean, he's
he's
definitely going to fight with those other guys, you know, that we mentioned.
He might be pushed down.
He's another, like Don said, these guys get anxiety. He gets anxiety a lot.
He gets anxiety.
Yeah.
And Jackson, too early for him?
Who?
Andrew
Jack.
Oh, yeah. Andrew Jack. I forgot about him.
Yeah.
Yes.
He's another dark horse.
Yeah.
You know what? If any of those guys that we've mentioned comes in real condition, not the current condition that's kind of considered good condition, but like real condition, like gnarly conditioning, any one of them could cause an upset.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And also any of those guys that you've already got in the top 5, if they come in out, you know, off on the day, they could slip out of there real easy.
Yeah.
Well, here's the next question. How much is politics going to be involved in this?
It's always involved in it. So politics is always involved in it.
Always.
I knew that would get Ian fired up.
It's never not involved. It's always been involved. It's always been involved.
I still gonna tell you, I didn't experience that much during my career.
No, because it never went against you.
Yeah.
That's why it never went against you. The only people that say there's not politics in bodybuilding are the people that it favoured, not the people that it went against. I mean, simple as that.
What you try to say here, Ian?
Yeah.
I'm saying telling the truth.
Don, did you have any shows where you felt like you should have placed better?
Well, I would say give or take. I don't feel like I, blatantly, and of course, most of these were in the amateur, in the amateur show. I'll be honest, so, a place or two, but, when I went against Craig and Paul, that could have went either way, like they weren't going to let Paul DeMeo lose. And and granted, I was a nobody, but him and Titus both had big names at that point. When Edgar Fletcher beat me in my first nationals, I was 4th, he was 3rd. I was much better than Edgar, but once again, they definitely didn't know my name in my first nationals because I came from the junior nationals as a light heavyweight, and so I'm a heavyweight, right. And they weren't going to let Edgar lose to me either. So it was those type of things, but small things that once again that for me it was better, especially like not winning even against Paul and Craig. I needed that extra year. Otherwise, I wouldn't have done good in my first pro show, per se.
Yeah.
But I didn't have anything major that I would necessarily complain about, So
But it's like in '97, and I felt very betrayed placing 7th at the Olympia. I was in the finale, I was 5th. So as I came off stage, in that minute, I was clearly the 3rd best bodybuilder on stage. But now here we are, like 30 years later, 25 years later. I'm going through all the pictures, and I have to realize that I wasn't any good in the pre-judging. So yes, I did make up at the end, but then, when you see who was 6th, Lee Priest in his absolute best shape, and me coming in so late, finally getting the water out, so it's probably okay to be 7th. So then another difficult one is when I looked really terrible in the '98 Olympia, where I only placed 10th, where, I don't know if you guys know the story, but I pretty much from the hospital bed went up on stage. Everybody was crying. I remember Milos was going nuts. He just came off the bus and this kind of stuff. Now I look at the pictures today. I still have some incredible poses where I just blow those guys 8, 7, 8, 9 away. But then I had the very, very weak poses too. So the 10th place at the end, it's fine. Although it did probably help that I just signed a very great contract just before the show, so it probably did help. But the only time where I really felt like they really screwed me over, but I knew that going into the show was at the Grand Prix of Germany. The Germans, they just never liked me. I can clearly say that, So I'm Swiss. The Germans are all about Germans, and I was the kind of the Swiss. They were looking down at, by the Germans. Germans are kind of an arrogant big brother. And I knew that going in all those years being the best German-speaking athlete, I had like 2 guest posings in Germany and 1 cover. In like 4 years being the best German-speaking athlete, because I wasn't German, I didn't have the German passport. So I knew that going in. That's the one show where I really believe, they screwed me over. But other than that, I was pretty lucky in that regard.
My pro debut was the '93 English Grand Prix. I was supposed to have done the Arnold Classic that year, but pulled out. And Flex Wheeler was in it, Kevin Leverone was in it, Charles Claremont won it. My sponsor at the time was supposed to be the main title sponsor for that show, Atlas Nutrition. Backstage, Wayne D'Amelia came up to me right as we were walking out on stage and asked me where he was. I said, I don't know. Anyway, every single year, the top 6 were placed in the English Grand Prix every year. That year, because my sponsor didn't pay Wayne D'Amelia, and I've spoken to Wayne about it, I know the truth now. Because they didn't pay, I placed 6th, but they only pulled out the top 5 that year. Every year before, the top 6 were pulled out. Every year after, the top 6 were pulled out. That year, I placed 6th, and they only pulled out the top 5. Half of the crowd booed and left. Milos got 5th. I got 6th, and Milos numerous times. In fact, I think on the podcast we did with him, Milos admitted that I kind of beat him quite convincingly at that show. So hey, that was my pro debut. That was my taste of professional bodybuilding in the IFBB, and it only went downhill from there. I'm telling you, because I would not.
I didn't have to.
And I would not. What?
Ian, I didn't have to pay D'Amelia. He just stole it from me twice.
There you go. There you go. Well, but what I'm saying is, and I'm not crying. It's all done now. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's when the sport didn't have as much money as it does now. You know, it's all generated around money. That's what it's all about. It's all about who your sponsors want to win and who's
so when
a backhander or whatever, and that determines a hell of a lot.
So when he tried to steal the money from me the 3rd time, I was fighting back. So I was supposed to get $10,000 for, I think, my 10th place at the Olympia. So he calls me up, and he said, look, JP, there's a problem. We found something in your urine. We don't know exactly what it is, but look, this is going to stay between us, but I can't send you the money. So I said, look, I really need to know what it is, you know? I mean, because there was very few things they were testing for. He comes back and he says, it's cocaine. No freaking way. It's not possible.
Mm.
It's not possible, except somebody put it in my drink backstage. It's not possible.
Mm.
You know. So I had the lawyer to call back, you know, that we have to kind of look into this case. A half an hour after my lawyer called his office in New York, I think he wasn't in an office, he worked from home. He called me back and said, well, we looked through your sample again. It's somewhat related to cocaine, but it's not cocaine, so you're fine. So, yeah.
Maybe
Yeah,
that's
that's
as it goes along.
Oh,
Did it-
boy.
third time he tried, but the first one was a brutal one. Russian Grand Prix. They announced that the top 5 will share $200,000 at the Russia Grand Prix. So I placed second. Nasser won, I placed second. Delay was third, Vince Taylor fourth, and Lebroni fifth. So Nasser goes, get his check, and he got like 75, 80, I don't know, $1,000. I walked into the office, and he gives me $7,000.
7.
So I say, that's not possible. You know, you make the math, you know, Nasser got 80. It's not possible. He's like, well, this is what I would recommend. Why not just take a lawyer in Russia and sue me?
Who
That's
said
crazy.
that?
Wow.
Who said that?
Rain.
Wayne said that to me. So
Yeah.
first he gave me this bullshit story about, well, some of the sponsors pulled out because Dorian didn't compete. Dorian already announced months before the Olympia that he will not do the second week of the European Tour.
What year
was-
was that, JP?
96.
Right.
Wow.
So once he just looked in my face and said, just sue me, I knew right there, I'm not going to see that money. Whatever I do, this is not going to happen.
Wow.
So I'm sure we would ever ask him. He's a very good storyteller. He would tell us that story way, way different, but that's exactly what happened.
Mhm.
Oh,
Oh,
crazy.
That's crazy.
But yeah, there's definitely politics involved in bodybuilding, unfortunately. Shouldn't be, but there
Yeah.
is.
There.
So I'm heading to Switzerland next week for the Swiss Grand Prix.
Oh, really?
So I don't know
Yeah.
if I told you guys that we're finally approved to get a second show into Switzerland, a pro qualifier this time. So I was kind of hoping that my name is on the pro qualifier. So I'm meeting the people who organize the regional show, the Swiss Grand Prix. They will kind of tell me what I have to bring to the table when it comes to sponsor money. And I'm really curious to listen to them. But after having talked to Tamer about this kind of stuff, and I just recently went to a wedding in LA, and who was sitting next to me, the guy from Legion Sport Fest, Bojana's husband, you know, I think, what's his name? Chris Mimes.
Chris Mins, yeah.
Yeah, so after talking to them, I mean, you can easily lose 20, 30 grand on a weekend here if you're not careful. Okay?
Hmm.
So as much as I would like to have my name on a show before, you know, see my father's face walking into the show with my name on it, but I have to be very careful that my ego is not getting the better of me here. Okay? So I find out more. I will share it with you guys when I come back if that will happen, that JP Fuchs Classic in Switzerland. But it would be kind of a cool thing.
That
Wow.
would be cool. Yeah.
That'd be nice.
Yeah, definitely.
So I don't know if I can be here next week. We'll see. I mean, I fly Wednesday, I arrive Thursday, so I might be on the airplane when we have next week's show.
Did Theo tell you guys about our little story of how we ran into each other?
No.
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 Go ahead and tell them, Phil.
Well, we first met, Don and I, we were in Missouri. And I heard Don Long was a friend of mine. Said, Don Long's living here. I said, where? He said, Warrensburg. And I said, you got to be kidding. So I think we met in a dialysis clinic, right?
You might have came by there first, yeah.
I came by there. Yeah, that's where we
Either
met.
that or some little gym. It was a little warehouse gym. You remember some little warehouse gym? Somebody's
Possible.
it was somebody's little warehouse gym.
There was one gym, I can't think of the name of it right now, that was in Sedalia.
Yeah, but and it might have, it was that one. Yeah, that little gym is
Okay.
that's where we first.
I thought we originally met in the dialysis clinic.
Now I think
and then we
came by there after the fact. You know, we met first at
Oh, okay.
but then you came to visit at the dialysis center later, you know.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So
Yeah. Yeah.
That's crazy. Phil,
Yes.
you weren't getting dialysis, were you? You were just
Small
going to see
town.
him?
No, I went there to see Don.
Okay,
we
okay.
we were in the same small little town because there wasn't a lot of people in this little town. But
No.
my sister was in the Air Force there. You know, they do have the BK bomber, BK bomber, whatever it is.
Mhm.
You know,
Right.
they carry those. You know, even though it's one of the few places that carry those big bombers, but it's a small little town where you can probably count the people that's in it.
Mhm.
You know.
Yeah, that's not
Yeah, exactly. Warrensburg, the place is not, but yeah, Warrensburg, yeah. So yeah, we, you know, like I say, we ran into each other, and then we worked at a club together.
Right.
Yeah.
Remember that night we had the
Yeah.
big fight there, and me and you
Yeah.
grabbed that guy and we pulled him off and tore his
Yeah.
pants off of him, snatched him clean off of him.
You know, normally it was kind of low key there, you know, but every now and then we
Yeah,
had.
every now and again, yeah.
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 What year was that?
That was
You're Don?
probably 2004, 2005.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, if it had to be 2004, because I think in 2005 I started home dialysis, you know.
Okay. Now I remember you started the home dialysis. I remember that.
It might have been 2005 because I actually did put on a little size. I started because when I started that new type of dialysis, I was able to eat more and train better. So I was probably when I worked at the club, I was probably 245 or something like that. Yeah.
Right. Now that was your last show when you were training for the video, right?
That was my comeback show. That was
your comeback.
That was 2006. By the time I actually decided I was going to come back and compete, so I started, eating a little more, and I actually got my body actually in really good shape. So when you came by that time, and when we did the video, yeah.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah.
Did you have a kidney transplant?
After that?
Yeah, I do now. Yeah, I had this one for 12 years.
Right.
And your wife gave you that kidney, right?
She gave me this one. Yeah.
Right. Wow.
So
Oh,
do
that's
you have to
great.
still be on medication for that, or is this just kind of?
Yeah, you just have to take about 3 or 4 different medicines per day.
You're doing good, no problems.
Oh yeah, no problems. Yeah, knock on wood. Thank God.
Nice.
Right.
Don, will you have to get another one eventually, or?
Well, if it fails, you just pray that it lasts forever, but you never know. So
Yeah.
Mhm.
yeah.
Now, is that what Flex is going through right now?
Well, he has a transplant. Of course, he's had his, I think, since about 2001 or 2, give or take, something like that.
Yeah.
About 20 years. So it is. I don't know exactly. Well, in the same time, he caught COVID. That can give you kind of shocks to it and stuff like that.
Yeah. He went through a little rough area there recently. So
Yeah.
So if it doesn't fail, then you can just keep going with it, huh, Don?
Yeah, you just keep going with it as long as it keeps ticking.
What are you doing today?
Yeah, I own a meal prep business. It's called Long Life Meal Prep. So we ship nationwide. It's a pretty well-run business. Me and my brother-in-law, my wife, we all own it together, and we've been doing it for 3 or 4 years. It's doing really well. So.
Mhm.
Don, let me ask you, how do you ship the food? Is it in dry ice?
Yeah, you flash freeze it and then you ship it with dry ice and it stays frozen. Most packages get there between next day or 2 days, no longer than 2 days. And then so when people get it, it'll still be dry ice in the box and the meals will be frozen.
Mhm.
And then of course we use a tray sealer machine where we don't put lids on the meals. We put a film. It goes through a film machine, so it kind of where you don't have a lot of air in there. Meals, so it lasts in the refrigerator for about 2 weeks, before it gets, before you have to put it in the freezer, I would say,
Yeah. I looked into that a while back. Those machines are expensive.
They are.
Yeah. That was one of the most expensive parts of the.
Yeah. So, but at the same time, it saves us so much money because one, no one's going to get a stale meal because we ship meals, but we have a lot of local clients also. So no one's going to get a day old meal, but you feed it on day 10, it's going to taste like we just made it. And so people pay for that. They like that service. And then you don't have to worry about lids cracking or coming off and things like that. So you don't have to replace meals that that, because when you ship it, the dry ice can crack the lid,
Mhm.
and then now you got to replace that meal. So every week we got to place for someone's meals,
Mhm.
and so you eliminate that completely, and because of course, not only are you placing the meal, you got to ship it back out,
Mhm.
Yeah.
and then you're just losing money. And so it's a much better system to have it this way. So it was a great investment, so.
Mhm.
I see your website here, longlifemealprep.com. I'm gonna give it to my wife. She's always ordering from all kinds of meal prep companies.
Yeah.
I'm gonna order a few meals from you.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
do great business. Of course, being from, that we know, one, we have 3 different sizes of entrees that people can choose from. We know how food needs to taste. We have a variety menu every week, different menus. So,
Mhm.
and then measured perfect. So when people want 6 ounces of protein, they're going to get 6 ounces. If they want 4, they're going to get 4, not 3, not 2 and a half.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Don, you doing any coaching still or no?
Yeah.
No, I stopped coaching, so every now and then I'll consult a few people, but
Mhm.
this really takes up a lot of time because we're constantly trying to grow this business.
Yeah.
And so we invested a lot of time and energy into the business every day, trying to take it to another level. So,
Okay.
yeah.
You got a staff of people doing your meal prep for you that you have?
Yeah, we have probably about maybe 16, 17 employees,
Oh, okay.
Oh
Yeah,
man, that's doing real well.
You'd have to.
Yeah, we got 3 different buildings. We have one building where we do all the cooking and prepping, and then we have another building where we do the shipping and customer service. People come to pick up, have a grab and go cooler, and then we just got a third building where we're actually going to do baking, and we do cold pressed juices also, and so we'll do the cold pressed juices and the bacon in this particular building, because we healthy protein desserts.
Yeah,
So
I was gonna say I saw some of your posts where you put some desserts on there. They look good.
Yeah, they look good. So we have a whole team that does baking, but we, so in the one building where we do the prepping right now, it can get kind of congested with the cooking of the meals and the baking of the baked goods. We need to separate that, so that's why we got the third building. And all these buildings are in the same shopping plaza. So,
Oh, cool.
Great.
yeah.
How long did it take to put together, Don? Had to take a while, huh?
To put together, well, it's a daily chain reaction. It's a whole system we got running. So every day you're prepping. So people order online. But depending on where you're picking up at, you have to have the meals in by this date, and then that's what you work on first. Is the people that need it going to pick up first, or the one, and then shipping has its own day. So you work on shipping. So everything's kind of broken down. We create a system where it's kind of flawless at this point, with trial and error,
Sure.
and all, with the 3 of us, we all kind of run a different section of it and keeping it all organized. And, so, that's the tray machine right there. That the mill's going.
Those are that's some high
That's
dollar.
incredible.
That is very impressive. When did you start that company?
We started in 2018.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
We started right out of our house in the beginning, and then of course, just hard work, promotions, and then the company grew big time,
Wow.
Yeah.
Congratulations. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's absolutely great.
Started off, it was just us 3. I'm washing dishes. My brother is cooking the meals. My wife is building the bowls, So, and then so now I don't have to wash dishes anymore. So
A little easier.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
Did you guys hear about Doug Brignoli passing away today?
Oh,
Yeah.
oh, really?
Yeah.
Happened a couple hours ago. Or just
then-
Yeah, this morning. This
Wow.
morning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What happened?
Who is he?
He was an AAU Mr. America winner. I can't remember the year. You might know, John. Do you remember?
I think he won his class the year Jeff King won, I think. Maybe.
Okay.
Well, that
But
was back in,
I think he was in the
Jeff King won
teenage.
in 82 rather. So it was later than that, I believe.
Was he in the Teenage America when
Yeah.
Lee Haney
Lee
was
Haney
in?
won. He was second in the medium class, and I was 5th that year.
Okay. Yeah, I thought he was in it.
Yeah.
Back then.
Okay, I see. Okay, I recognize him now. Yeah.
But he was wasn't he getting in shape, Phil, for something?
Yeah, I just spoke with him on Labor Day. We spent some time together talking. He was telling me he was getting in shape for some exhibitions. He had some things coming up.
Yeah.
And next year, he planned on competing in the Mr. Universe over 60, which he won a couple of years ago. He planned on competing in that again at age 64. He was in great shape. He was
Yeah.
posting some photos of how he looked, and I mean,
Mhm.
incredible.
Yeah, he always judged the Venice Beach show, right?
Right.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, good friend. We have a long history.
I was shocked. I was
Yeah.
shocked. when I heard he died.
I didn't
Yeah.
know. I didn't hear that.
Did you see that guy that killed his wife? The bodybuilder.
Yeah. I saw-
In
Of course,
Tampa.
it was in Florida. It all happens in Florida.
Yeah.
That was in Tampa.
Well, it used to be.
I've never seen the guy before. I've never seen.
He was an NPC guy. He probably did one NPC show and they're labeling him a bodybuilder.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Let's see
Yeah.
here.
So the other funny thing I would say is Phil would laugh at this too. Now, back when me and Phil were together, Phil wanted nothing. He wanted nothing to do with electronics. Nothing phone. You gotta get a phone. You gotta get this. You gotta get this. You gotta get on the internet, man. You gotta do something. Phil nothing to do. I said one day you're gonna pick it up. Trust me, you're gonna need it. You know.
Yeah, yeah, it happened.
When I saw Phil, because I've been seeing the show and stuff for a while, so I saw Phil on podcasts and stuff like that. You would have never thought this would happen. I'll be honest.
Mhm.
I remember. I'll tell you a funny story. Don had a Bluetooth thing in his ear, right? You remember those?
Yeah,
You remember that, Don?
yeah.
And I was walking up to you, and you were talking to somebody on the phone. You didn't have anything in your hand. I said, Don must be crazy. He's talking to himself like that. I said, what the hell's wrong with him?
Uh-huh.
That's the first time I'd seen a Bluetooth.
Uh-huh.
I saw this blue light in his ear, and I said, what the hell is that?
Yeah.
Yeah, he didn't want nothing to do with technology. I mean, I think you barely had a cheap old cell phone.
Phone.
Yeah, flip. By the time they had bigger phones, he still had his little teeny phone. Couldn't do all on it.
I still would if I could. I would love to live. If I win the Powerball, I'm throw all this stuff out the window.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Move
since
somewhere
that's
where you
not
don't
going
need
to
it.
happen, I gotta keep going here.
Mhm. How's your app doing, JP?
Came out last night.
Oh, last night.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
But this is now I can start playing with it, and start to see what works and what doesn't.
Okay.
And of course, somebody stole my name. So, I had to come up with 2 names for the app. One kind of a brand name, like something simple, like, Nike, Adidas, something like that. So I had a really brilliant name. And every time when I had the meeting with my tech team in India, it bothered me that there's so many people in the calls, listening to that name. So 3 weeks ago, I checked on the domain and it was available. It's not a name which I thought will go away. Last night, we loaded the app up to the App Store, and he's like, so what name do you decide on and make sure you have the domain name? So, of course, somebody snapped it up and wanted $5,000 for it.
Mm.
And I know it's some freaking bastard from my tech team in India. Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not going to pay any money for that. So I had to come up with a new name today. So I just got the domain this afternoon. Yeah, so my app is out. I will talk more about it in the future. And I have now till January 22nd to make all the improvements in phase 2. I keep the tech team on the January 22nd, and then it has to be ready for prime time. So yeah, it was a long process. Took over a year now, so yeah, I'm happy it's going into the right direction again.
Good.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Hey,
forward
Don,
to
what city
using
are
it.
you living in now?
Sorry?
Don, what city?
In the Greensboro area.
Okay.
So it's kind of between Charlotte and Raleigh and Durham, in the middle of there.
Mm-hmm.
Is that near the coast? Because I'm not familiar with North Carolina.
No, yeah, it's not near the coast though. It's
Okay.
more, yeah. So it's probably 2 or 3 hours from the coastline.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So are you near the mountains up there?
Well, it's some mountains close by for sure,
Yeah.
but not like Boone or nothing like that. But I
Okay.
mean, you're familiar with Charlotte, Charlotte.
Yeah.
So literally, I'm an hour from Charlotte,
Okay.
and then an hour from Durham and Raleigh area,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Beautiful there.
Mm. So are you a Panthers fan now, or are you still with? Because you're from Philly, right?
I was born in Philly,
Yeah.
but think I grew up when my dad was a Dallas Cowboys fan, so I was a Cowboys fan. But because as of late, I don't even follow football like that until it's, you know, yeah.
You know, they play Philly Sunday.
Yeah, I mean, in fact, I had started just watching it because my son plays football now, so I've kind of watched it for him now. But before, like I said, I'm so busy, I don't have time to sit down for 2.5 hours, to be honest. But for him, we sit down and watch a half and stuff like that, so he can learn the game a little bit and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Hey, Don, I got a question for you. I've asked you this before. I'm going to see what you say. If your son wanted to get into bodybuilding, what would you think?
Not. Yeah.
Does he have any interest in it?
Huh?
Does he have any interest in it? Seeing you?
No, because he's only 7. You know, of course, he likes muscles. But I you know, I can't even tell if he has an interest. He's been to show he was born, but he still don't have a run around with the interest of bodybuilding. It's other sports that he's thinking about right now. You know, and even that, it's just you never know what sport he may actually fully take up. But we put him in likes all of them: basketball, football, baseball.
Right. Yeah, I see that.
So he plays those, and eventually we'll see which one he actually chooses. But bodybuilding, yeah, never. No.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I never say never, really, but you know, if I can help it, if I got anything to do with it, he won't. Put it that way. You know? I still love bodybuilding, but I don't want my son in it. I would say that.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah. Especially nowadays, it's different too. You know, it's not even the same anymore. So you know,
It's changed.
Yeah. Are you going to the Olympia this year, Don?
I doubt if I will. For me, you know, because I still got my, you know, even though my immune system is great, but I wouldn't take a risk to get right in big crowds right now if I can help it, you know, and for that longer periods, you know, because knock on wood, I'll be honest, I haven't in the 3 years so far, I haven't caught COVID yet, you know, so.
Good.
But I take extra precautions always, so and I can't take risks like that, you know. I say.
No, I understand. Yeah.
Your business should do real well, man, because in general, people are lazy and don't want to cook. Trust me. So, I mean, you offer an avenue that should do very well, man. Yeah,
and of course, you know, even overall, our business was going to do, but it's a multi-billion-dollar business, period. With you know, meal prep companies simply do well, you know.
Right.
You know, because once again, we do live in a time where people are busy. They do want to eat right, but they don't have time to cook, you know, or prepare. And some people don't know how to prepare or don't know how to back. And so it definitely makes it a lot easier for people. And I was trying to analyze would I have utilized one myself if they were out back in the day, which you know, because I was very particular about what I ate and I wanted prep.
Yeah.
So if I could have found a company that could have done it exactly right, then I probably would have invested in it also. You know.
Right.
Yeah.
Do you have any local competition doing the same as you or no?
Yeah. I mean, like I said, probably everywhere you're going to have competition, you know, because every city is going to have someone. But yeah, we have competition. We don't focus on competition. I'll be honest. We just focus on hustling ourselves, you know, creating a great product. And then we don't talk down on any other business, you know, and then we just let people decide what they want. You know, once they try our food and see the customer service, then, you know, we really don't have a lot of negative feedback. You look at if I Google reviews, you know, we just have great feedback because we really, you know, we know customer service is most important. You know, if a meal so happens to not show up or if you didn't, you know, if it got ordered wrong, whatever, we always make sure things are correct. I would say that, you know, you know, we'll lose money before we lose a customer. I would say that, you know. So, and then we know that you have to put out a great tasting product. A lot of times you'll see with some of even the big companies, they mass produce too much and then they water down the food, so to speak, to where you're not getting a tasteful meal. It's just like, okay, here's your meal, but it's not really that great, you know.
Yeah.
So we make sure every meal tastes delicious, you know.
Yeah. You have to, because people eat for taste.
Yeah, you know, and then granted, some of the bigger, so when you got that kind of marketing, they don't really care because, you know, as much because the marketing is so heavy, they lose a customer, 10 more coming on, you know.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That's right.
Do you come up with all the different meal ideas or do you have somebody else doing that?
A lot of times this is my wife and brother-in-law. I'm more in the marketing part of it, getting the name out there, getting the business out there. getting vendors and things like that. Cause we deliver to probably about 40, 50 different gyms. And so the goal is to keep getting vendors, you know. So I handle a lot of the outside stuff and a lot of the business outside stuff. And then they handle the cooking and the ideas of coming up with different stuff. Sometimes I may I'm the guy that every now and then I'll come up with a good idea, but you know, it's really on them for that part, you know. So,
Right.
you know, because my wife initially, you know, same thing, even when we were in Florida, because, you know, right, you know, we used to coach people down there, and then that's how we actually started. You know, we have a whole team of people, but then the local, of course, nationwide, but locally, a few of the guys that we would coach or girls wanted us, because they would see her prep my food or whatever. And then they would say, "Can you know, you think your wife can prep my food?" And she would. So we were very busy with coaching, but she would take on maybe 5 or 6 clients of prepping their meals for them, and then of course, you know, and then so I would be able to get new clients if we needed one, that type of thing. And the same thing when we moved here, we decided we were going to do this full time, and then so I met with a good friend of mine who's a bodybuilder in this area. We had lunch. He's a big time trainer in this area, so he was able to automatically right away turn us on to about 10 clients, and then 10 grew to 20, and so on and so on. But so I'm kind of more of the outreach, you know, to keep the, you know, to bring the business in, so to speak, you know.
Cool.
Yeah, let me ask you, Don, how many days a week are you training now?
I still train about 5 days a week, you know.
Okay.
But it's about, you know, I go in, I don't do any free weights, I do machines, and I go in for about 45 minutes. A lot of times I still got to work on my phone while I'm in there, and it's just so more leisure, but I get a quick, nice, intense workout, and then leave, you know, and go to work, you know. So a lot different than, you know, but like I said, my genetics, if I do a little something like that, it's enough to keep my body up. And that's kind of all I need right now, is just to stay in shape at this age. Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Now, how old are you now, Don?
I'll be 56 in 5 days. My son's birthday was today. He's 5 days before me. Yeah.
Oh, cool.
All right. Well,
Yeah, because you about 66.
62 now.
62. Okay, I thought you were 10 years older than me, but you turned pro 10 years before me, but not.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm the only one in the over 60s club.
Oh, you're the only one?
So
You went over 60?
yeah. Oh, yeah, 62. Over 60. The over 60 club. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm the only member.
Yeah. So, JP, how old are you?
54.
Okay. And
in 2 weeks.
Ian, how old are you?
53.
Oh wow, okay. So I'm almost John, how old are you?
I'm 59. I'm coming up on 60 next year.
I was gonna say you were close.
Year.
John.
Yeah.
Yeah.
John, next year you can be in your own show.
Hey, John and I trained together a couple weeks ago. I'm telling you
Yeah,
what,
at
for
our house.
59, he it was hard to keep up with him.
Yeah.
Oh, speaking of
Still
Olympia, Jason, I forgot about to look into that. John, you're still looking for a room?
Yeah, if you guys got one, yeah. At the
Yeah, I don't know how this timeshare thing works. I need to tell
Okay.
my wife tonight. We can add on a third one there, how it works. It's at the Marriott Chateau. It's a great place.
okay. Yeah,
It's
let me know.
usually little rooms with kitchen, and it's great. So
Oh,
I don't know the rules.
JP, you live in Vegas?
No, I live in Palm Springs. It's 3 hours from Vegas.
Okay, I see. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
And Jason, you're in Florida?
Yeah, I'm in Florida. I'm in Central
part?
Florida. Ocala.
Ocala. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, because you know I was down in Jacksonville. John, you in Daytona or where?
Tampa.
Yeah.
Tampa. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was in Jacksonville. You know.
Yeah. So you were did you a lot of stuff with Dexter in Jacksonville?
Yeah. We in fact, me and Dexter literally talk every day right now. You know.
Oh, wow.
We talk,
Okay.
yeah, every day, all day for the most part.
Wow.
So,
he's looking good. He's looking lean and mean.
yeah, I told him I got him beat right now though.
Yeah.
We always battling about something. So I told you at one point I'll catch up to you, or you know, you'll come down to my level, so to speak. You know, so he's lost.
I did his show a few years ago. It was a good show.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't ask me how I did. I didn't do good.
How'd you do?
I didn't do good. I didn't do good. I didn't make first call out.
Oh, yeah.
But it was a good time.
That was at his same normal place at the college.
Yep, same place. Yeah, I think he's had that venue for a while now.
Yeah, yeah.
This was
Is
about
he still
3
doing
years
that
ago.
show?
Say it
He's
again.
Is he still doing that show?
Dexter,
Yeah.
yeah. Uh-huh.
Okay.
Mhm. In fact, I think that Chris Mines helps promote that. You know.
Oh, he
Mhm.
does? Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is Dexter living in LA and Jacksonville? Is he going back and forth?
He
No.
was
I don't
Now
think
he-
he's doing it now. No.
Okay.
just when he was competing. You know?
Yeah.
gotcha.
Yeah. I think he had a
Okay.
condo or something out in LA, didn't he?
Yeah.
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 Yep.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, that's about all I got, guys.
Yeah. I think I'm
It
gonna
was
have
great.
to.
It was so great to see you, Don.
Yeah.
Yeah, good to see you, Don.
Everybody's ready to eat.
Yeah. I'm ready to eat. Thank you guys. I really appreciate it for sure.
Yeah, Don, I appreciate it. Thanks for coming on.
Good talking to you after all
What
this
day's your
time.
birthday again, Don?
Say it again.
Your birthday. Your birthday. What
The
date?
18th.
I'll remember that. I'll send you.
Yeah.
Send you
Okay.
a happy birthday.
Yeah. How's your girl lady doing?
She's doing
Okay.
well.
Cool.
Yeah, she's doing real
Cool.
well. She's my workout partner, so we train together.
Yeah. Okay. How often
Yeah.
right now? How
I'm
often
sorry?
you go?
I train the whole body once every 10 days.
Every.
Right?
Uh-huh.
This is what I do. First day I'll do I use a push-pull system. So the first day I'll do chest, shoulders, and triceps. I'll rest 2 days. I'll do legs and hamstrings. I'll rest 2 days. I'll do back and biceps, calves. I'll rest 2 days. I'll repeat.
Okay. Yeah.
That's 3 body part. I mean, I train each body part 3 times a month.
Over the course of 6. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
That works real
Are you
well.
going to Gold still, Phil, or no?
No, I'm at a gym in Ventura now. BSF.
Okay.
It's a decent gym. It's where Sean Roden trained before he
Oh.
moved out to Vegas.
Okay.
Hmm.
Yeah, I was out in LA like a week ago. I was hoping to hook up with you, but we didn't have time.
Oh, you were busy. I saw that.
Yeah,
You were real busy.
yeah. I went to Gold.
Does storm affect your place?
No, I got lucky. It totally missed me. We didn't get nothing.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. You didn't get nothing. Yeah, I know it's supposed to head to Tampa.
Yeah,
But I never heard you did any damage there.
Tampa gets lucky every time, man.
Mhm.
But you're in the right place.
Yeah,
Yeah.
knock on wood.
Mhm.
Yeah. All right.
Crazy. All right, gentlemen. Thanks again.
Appreciate it.
Okay,
Bye,
guys.
guys.
Catch you later, guys.
All right.
All right, Don.
Take
Bye-bye.
care.
Have a good night.
Great seeing you.
Bye.
Bye.